Vivian, what's going on? How can I help?
How do I stop negative and hateful feelings I have towards my body after multiple miscarriages and infertility struggles?
That one's tough, Vivian. Wow. Thank you for your trust there. So walk us back through your journey so far.
So I grew up in a really big family. My parents had 10 kids together, so I had 9 siblings. And my mom was just an absolute rock star. She had all of us at home, 0 painkiller. She would literally sing as she gave birth. She was just incredible. And
Did you say she was singing?
Yes.
You know what? Because why not, man? We're just going to take this and pile up on poor Vivian, right? Golly. Okay.
She was amazing, though. And she would talk about, the amazing design of a woman's body. And I always just had a profound respect for my own body. And so kind of fast forwarding, my husband and I got married and we got pregnant right away. We have a beautiful 4-year-old. And I think unknowingly it just kind of confirmed, because I have a lot of sisters who've had a lot of kids, kind of not easily, but, just gotten pregnant quickly. And it just kind of confirmed to me that, this will be a breeze. And so then a while later, when we were ready to try for a second, I noticed it was taking a long time, and I thought that was weird. And then when I did get pregnant, I miscarried, which the first one was just very jarring. I think I was just shocked that happened to me. And then we tried again after many, many months, and I became pregnant again. And we thought everything was fine that time, and I miscarried almost at the end of that first trimester. So I just struggle so much I feel like as much of a profound respect that I used to have for my body, I have an equally profound disrespect and frustration. And so I'm just not sure how to.
How did you, and again, at any point you say, hey, I'm done talking about that part. Just cut me off, okay? I want you to know you're in control of the conversation here. How did you grieve those miscarriages? How did you and your husband do that together?
It's interesting because I think I've grieved the loss of knowing that I'll never know who they were, what they would be like, their hair color, all that. Cried and just kind of came to a place of acceptance with that. And I think I think you said it or somebody said that grief is not just crying a lot, it's ownership. And I think I have not owned that I struggle with fertility. One of my close friends said something to me the other day, how are you doing with your infertility struggles? And my internal reaction was I don't have infertility struggles. It's been 3 years.
How about you go drown yourself, right? Yeah.
She's wonderful, and she's very well-meaning and hasn't been through it. But
sure.
But yeah, so I think I have not grieved that, and I think sometimes, my husband's wonderful and very emotionally available. But I think I just always worry that I'm bothering him, and so I kind of will just go off and deal with it myself sometimes when I think he wants to be there for me.
So I'm going to answer the best I can, okay? Having had a ringside seat to this, but not a driver's side seat, okay? And I've talked about some of my family's challenges publicly, and some of that stuff I'll keep private, and I'll go to the grave with it, and other stuff I think it can be helpful to talk about. And I also am going to answer your question, Vivian, to a wide audience, okay? So I'll speak to you directly, but also speak a broader conversation. And let's start with you and your husband's conversation. So when we experienced this in my house, with the lion's share of the pain resting in my wife and in her heart, I was working crisis for the city. And so when things went down in the city, I was on a team that got called out to go help other people in their worst moments. I was also the dean of students at a university, and I helped students in their worst moments. And I was working on a second PhD in counseling and a partridge in a pear tree. Long story short, if it was going down, chances are they're going to call Delony to come in and help. And then we had a series of challenges like this in my own home, and I handled it terribly. I had a lot of information. I had a lot of, what you should be doing. and I missed it completely. And I'll never forget going to a counseling conference, and I walked into the room, and one of the sessions was counseling women who've had miscarriages, infertility challenges. And as shameful as this is, I'm saying it out loud, the thought in my head was, oh, I know how to do that. Because I've experienced that. I know how to do that. And then shame on top of shame on top of shame. This is like an embarrassing moment for me, like a heartbreaking moment for me that I was just arrogant. But I actually thought I could probably help in the presentation. So I'll be one of those people in the audience that helps out the presenter. And during the presentation, the presenter proceeded to say, hey, we know we all know this. And she said it so flippantly, I'll never forget it. There's like 7 things you never, ever say to a woman who's experienced this. And by the time she got to 5 and 6 and 7, Vivian, not only had I said all 7 of those things, but I had expounded on them. I was like running my mouth about them in our house with this sense of arrogance. And it was one of the most humbling, humiliating, shameful moments in my life because I was just wrong. There was one person on planet Earth that I swore to be there for, and it was my wife, and I wasn't because I was so arrogant, and I was just trying to get there with information, and I wasn't with. And it was when we had some hard conversations that where she really felt free to open up that I realized, oh my God Almighty, I missed it a lot. And so what I would challenge you before you do anything else is to find some safe time with your husband and let him know what's going on in your heart. It will create a division and a break in your relationship that will take years to repair. And so honor him with that and challenge him with that, but start connecting with him there, okay? And so then here's the back out, right? I've heard, and again, since that moment, it was a humbling moment. You've probably heard me say a million times on this show, and I'll keep saying it, telling guys to shut their stupid mouths and to connect with people and don't over-analyze and don't over-inform people. A lot of that starts from that moment with me, right? So I've heard these things throughout time. I've been having periods since I was 12, and when it's go time, now you decide to not work. I've heard that. I've heard throughout history, women have been recognized, and this is thousands of years, right, as basically a tool for other people, for men to carry on legacy, for men to have their babies grow, to be fed, and on and on. It's this idea that women are always apologizing for how their body looks, how it works, is it working well, is it not working well, and it's exhausting. I've heard women describe how the pain in trying to explain to grandparents and in-laws and their own parents and their husbands, I want to give you grandkids. I'm sorry that we can't do this. We had this plan and it's not working out. I had one buddy of mine tell me about just walking down that hallway and looking in that empty room, that there was plans for that empty room. And I've heard heavy, heavy things. The most profound view that has stuck with me that I'll pass along to you, Vivian, is this idea of being betrayed by my own body. And it sounds like you're familiar with that one. Does that one ring true with you?
Yes, very much so.
Like, man, you were raised with an awesome... Well, your mom's not fair, number one. That's like your dad being Michael Jordan and you going out for the high school team, right? But, you know, this idea that the way it was framed, the way it was told to me, and I loved it, was it's like your husband cheated on you and you don't get the chance to leave, and there's nothing you don't get to talk about working it out, and he doesn't get to change his behavior because it just is. So you have this betrayal and it rests inside of you, and there's not a lot you can do about it except going to the next day and the next day and the next day. Does that sound right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
Give us an example of when you have a dark morning, a dark evening, what's the self-talk there?
Like if I ask for, because I do a lot, my husband works a lot more than I do. I work from home and part-time. So I take care of a lot of the household stuff as I feel it should be. And if I ask for anything, like any kind of help with our daughter, sometimes I'll like step in and do it myself because I'll be like, you know, thinking about my sister that has 5 kids and like how pathetic that I would need help with our one, or just things like that. Like I'm not allowed to be tired, or, you know, this age, she's 4, so lots of questions. And sometimes I'm like, I'm just tired, you know, and then I'll be like, wow, how are you tired? You have 1 child. That's pathetic, you know, and just anything. Yeah. Just that kind of thing.
So if you get nothing else out of this call, will you promise me that you'll start talking to my friend Vivian kinder?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to talk to Vivian like the rock star mom that she is. And you got a beautiful 4-year-old, and you have an awesome husband, and you've got an extraordinary gift for empathy and for feeling and for connecting with other people now. And that starts with you connecting and being empathetic with yourself. Okay. Is that a promise?
Okay. Yes.
Awesome. All right. So here's the hard part. You're going to have to go through a process of forgiveness. A friend of mine, she went as far as to name her uterus, and of course she named it after a man, because why not? But she literally went through a process of forgiveness, named it, and got a group of people around her that she could talk with, but had to go through the process of forgiving her own body. And that sounds weird and that sounds awkward, whether that's writing it a letter, whether that is, or writing yourself, your body, a letter. But the idea of not forgiving this is you are poisoning yourself from the inside out. And you are wearing this chemical response, you're wearing this frustration response, and it just gets heavy, and eventually your body goes to war with you, right? And so you've got to be about forgiving your body for not living up to what you think it should have, to the expectations you put on it, to the quote unquote beautiful machinery that you were given, right? And then the second thing is, this is hard, but there's always going to be an ache there. And as time goes on, as you grieve it, you're going to make peace with that ache, and then you're going to learn and give in to celebrating others, right? It's hard when your sorority sister texts everybody and says, guess what, right? Or they send that cute little Instagram thing. That still sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
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 As you're going to have to lean into those moments and practice gratitude and practice celebrating other people, as hard and ugly as that will be. And then I really want you to explore the story of motherhood in your heart and in your home and with your husband. And you've traced it. You've done an awesome job of tracing it all the way back to the example that your extraordinary mom set, and the way she talked about how beautiful your body was, and this extraordinary appreciation for how your body works. You're going to have to get beneath that and ask yourself questions about, do you want to be a mom? Do you want to have 5 kids running around? Does that mean you're going to go through the adoption process? Does that mean you really just want to be a mom if you're biological kids? So you're going to be a mom and the best aunt that's ever been? You're going to foster. You need to have those type of conversations as you begin to make meaning of, well, then what is going to be next? And those are not things you need to do by yourself. Okay, you got to have a community around you. Please, 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 please involve your husband in those conversations. And then the last hard part of this is you have to decide if you're going to be vulnerable again. And nobody in the entire world can make that decision except for you. And are you going to exhale and then go again? Or are you going to say, I'm done with the hurt and we are blessed with the child that we've got, and then we're going to start exploring what family means for us down the road? I'm confident you've already had those thoughts. Where are you leaning on the vulnerability?
Do you mean like as far as trying again, or like talking with my husband? I do think we want to in the future. I think some of this is probably coming up too because we're not trying currently because we have a move possibly coming up, and I just feel like my daughter's getting older and there's not a sibling, and so that's been kind of sad. But I do think we do want to try in the future, but just maybe not right now.
Awesome. And you're telling yourself a lot of stories about how your kids are feeling and how your daughter's absorbing this and how your husband's going to respond. Don't get in the head of other people and begin trying to solve problems for them that they haven't communicated to you, okay? You've got enough to carry, and it's hard, and your heart and soul is so good that you want to care for everybody around you, and in the process, you're going to end up drowning yourself. You're going to end up carrying so much weight that it brings you down. And those stories that you're telling about your daughter, man, your daughter's going to be awesome. Whether she has a biological sibling, 10 biological siblings, or if it's just the 3 of y'all and y'all ride or die together. She's got an awesome mom and a great dad. She's going to be a great cousin. You're going to be a great aunt. All of those things work together, but it starts with you having a moment or a season of forgiveness for the body that's betrayed you. And then it begins a reframing for how's this body going to support me moving forward? And then what's family going to look like in our home? Vivian, it sucks. I hate that this is happening to you. And I know that there are millions and millions of women in the country who are experiencing, and all over the world experiencing, exactly what you're going through. And there's millions of husbands sitting next to wives just like this going, I'm hurting too, and I don't know how to hurt. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. And so start there with your husband. Have that conversation. And then y'all can lean into the forgiveness process. And let me know how those conversations go, and we will be thinking about you.